Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for the Dortmund debacle, I guess we're going to call it. I just wanted to speak on this game a little bit more, especially tactically and what we can do going forward, because, of course, it was a massive victory. I think, again, as I reiterate this, our biggest win under Graham Potter this season. There's still a long way to go. The league table does not lie. As we continue to hopefully go through the rounds in the Champions League, the league cannot be neglected. It is the bread and butter. It is, what kind of shows what you've been doing for the majority of the season. And we saw that with the Champions League win, even under Tuchel, and where we finished in the league, and then what transpired after that. I don't want us to go through that again in terms of our Champions League success and not bring it home to the league and kind of fool ourselves to kind of think that we're better than we are at times. And I think the key thing here for me is what can we take from these games going forward, and what can we continue to use and rehash, and what is a concern, because it's very important to speak about those concerns. And of course, Cucurella coming back into the fold now is a massive plus in any back three, because before the game in my preview, the only change I had for this team was Trevor Chalobah starting ahead of Cucurella, because Cucurella has been pretty poor. Obviously, there's been off the field issues for him, so we didn't really know if he was mentally ready to start. And he did start, and he blew us away. It was an incredible performance, and that allows us to keep playing a left-footed player in that left side centre-back position. If it's not Badiashile, now it will be Cucurella. And Koulibaly has long since been a better defender in the middle of that back three. He's just not a Rudiger. He's just not someone you want defending, maybe even in the channels, because of how rash he is. He's not the kind of player that you want stepping above the halfway line, progressing the play in terms of his ball carrying. He's someone that can switch to play with both feet. Most experienced. You, Marshall, take that responsibility as a leader. And like I said, Cucurella just provides you that balance with the transitions, the counters. He's very nippy. He's very quick. He also likes to be aggressive. And we saw that with his aerial duels. But we also saw his passing. His passing was breaking lines. And it's funny because as much as we've tried to run away from this back three, we've seen Manchester City play a back three a lot more often when they tuck in Rico Lewis and they give Laporte or Ake that license to play those passes. We've seen Arsenal play that back three quite a lot when Zinchenko tucks in as well. Gabriel is tasked with playing those passes. A lot more top teams are playing a back three more than we actually think. Now, are they playing it like Tottenham? No. Are they playing it how we've played it in the past? No. It is a little bit more flamboyant, a little bit more flexible, but it's something that we shouldn't run away from. And it seems to be our DNA currently with this team. Apparently the players, there's been constant dialogue between them and Potter in terms of what do they need to improve, where do they feel like they're going wrong, what can be changed. And maybe the back three was something that definitely seemed to come up according to reports, because the players are comfortable in that formation. They've been playing that for quite some time. Now, we have the centre-backs to do that. I'm even more confident with a back three than I was prior, purely because of these left-footed, left-side centre-backs that we have that we didn't even have under Tuchel. And obviously, Fofana stepped in brilliantly. Silva's still to come back. So we've got the options there. When Levi Colwill comes back as well, I'm very hopeful for him as a left-footed, left-side centre-back. Maybe even one of these left-footed could become a central centre-back as well. And this even... another positive, if we are to continue in this manner, this even maybe potentially provides an extra slot for an Ian Maatsen, who's playing really well at Burnley, because now if we're going to continue to use Cucurella as a left side centre back and kind of take advantage of him being inverted and playing these passes, then we need deputy for Chilwell, don't we? And Ian Maatsen is literally the perfect type of player to play in that wing back role. Brilliant going forward, can overlap, can tuck in, seems very good in inverting as well, and can shoot to a degree as well. So that actually frees up that space a little bit more and provides that competition. Now, we've signed on Silva to a new deal. Koulibaly, his future's been up in the air because of the form. And of course, Levi Cole. So there could be some congestion. And this is where potentially someone like a Trevor Chalobah is going to miss out, which would hurt me, because I think this player is very solid. He's a great squad player. I think he's been really good for us when given the opportunities. Yes, he's made some errors here and there, but literally all of our centre-backs probably have. And obviously, right back. Now, the wing-backs is where we may have concerns, right? Reece James, Chilwell, this is a lot of workload for them to get through. We've been down this road before with the wing backs and how much they're tasked with going up and down, constantly covering every single blade of grass on those flanks. And has it contributed to their injuries? We'll never know, but it's certainly it's more enduring for them. It's definitely more taxing for them. And these two are very injury prone. And in this system, you are even more reliant on your wing backs, as we saw last night. Any little overloads and pockets of spaces on the right and the left, little triangles that are created, it's usually to take advantage of a wing back making that bombing run forward. We saw it with the Reece James cross that was cleared, and then Kai Havertz hit the post. We saw it with Ben Chilwell, who literally as well in the last couple of games has been maybe one of our most important players. We saw it against Leeds. Any of those switch balls as well from Enzo Fernandez are going over to Chilwell. He's done it numerous times in the last couple of games. He's in loads of space. We saw it with Marcus Alonso as well. And obviously his cutback as well led to Sterling, finding his feet and getting the goal. So the wing backs are even more important when you go over back three as opposed to a four. And that is a concern because our wing backs are susceptible to injuries. Ian Maatsen next season, cool. At the moment, it's kind of Chilwell or bust in a sense, because Mudryk for me wouldn't be playing that left wing back role. We saw how important it was that they had to get back into the five. The defensive nous has to be there. I keep saying it. I don't like to see wingers, out and out attacking wingers playing at wing back unless they're Cuadrados, maybe Williams. But these real attacking minded wingers, that especially the young ones like the Mudryks and the Maduekes, they have shown and will continue to show lapses of concentration. That's something that you've got to bed into them, kind of drill into them. And playing at wing back, you're even more tasked to be defensively sound. You don't want your wing backs to fail to come and cover you. And that's something that they would probably do in these positions at this young age. So it is really Chilwell and Reece. I don't want to see Azpilicueta there. Again, that's another player I wouldn't want to see on that side. You'd have to look at maybe a Loftus-Cheek like we did against Leeds. So Gusto and Ian Maatsen in the future next season, that gives competition. That takes maybe a little bit more rotation with these guys and actually taking the workload off. I always want to keep a stable centre-back pairing. And I think it's good for chemistry and understanding. Attackers, you could argue the same. But I think at wing-back, we're going to need to rotate next season. And that's where Gusto and Ian Maatsen come in. But this season, Potter's definitely going to have to be creative in this aspect. And I want to make it very clear as well, against Dortmund, of course, they are susceptible to giving us more chances. We saw that in the first leg. They're a bit more open. We played on the counter a lot of the time, on the transition a lot. We didn't actually dominate possession in this game. So there are tougher tests to come in terms of what our kryptonite is, which is having a lot of possession, unlocking low blocks, deep defenses, at home, tight pitch, when there isn't that space in behind. And this is where Chelsea have got to show that they will not struggle. And this is where the patterns of play and the intricate moves and the factory football will have to take place. So there's still a lot to kind of figure out for Chelsea before we get too excited and too ahead of ourselves. This team seem very suited to Champions League football at the moment. And of course, moving into midfield as well with Cover and Enzo. Enzo Fernandez, we got some statistics on the bottom of your screen, made more recoveries than anybody else. Last game, I think it was Cover who did the same. These two in front of a back three, it was nice to see. And of course, those changes that come on as well. And as much as we all knew in the back of our minds, we didn't like the substitutions too much. Gallagher coming on to make it even more defensive in a 3-5-2. Zakaria obviously had to come on. I think Kova, maybe full 90s are too much for him at the moment, which is fair and understandable considering he's just come back from injury. But it was negative. Of course it was. And it had to be in a sense. Now, there is a lot of, seems to be a lot of frenzy and chaos about Mudryk and why he's not featuring in the last couple of games. He didn't come off the bench against Leeds. He didn't come off the bench in this match. For me, I've looked at Klopp. I've seen Pep. I've seen these managers slowly integrate the Cancelos, the Bernardo Silvas, the Keiters, the Konates. It's about time that we actually stopped expecting, no matter what the price point, because people will say, oh, he cost this. I really couldn't care less. It's about time we stopped playing players based on price point and actually play them when they're ready and what's best for their development. And too many times have we hung our hat on new toys and put that immediate pressure on. And especially if this team is not playing well, and especially when you're trying to integrate too many players at once. We've spoken about it before, having so many players in January to integrate. Much easier to integrate one or two into the system, then another one or two, then another one or two, than to just throw all the new names in there and expect everybody to click. It's not going to happen. And it's critical to understand that, because for me, with Mudryk, it's not like as if he's had a perfect start, and it's not even all down to him. This team has been on its knees. This team has been awful. This team has struggled to, at the moment, we've now changed system, right? We've been under immense pressure. It's not like he's coming into a top Chelsea team that is flying at the top of the league, which is what he would have been joining in Arsenal, and a stable system and a stable team and not too many new faces, and then you can just throw him in there and it's not too much of a shake-up. He's coming into a team that struggles with identity crisis. He's coming into a team that hasn't been able to score goals and is struggling to have a solid attack in terms of a plan. A team that is changing systems, a team that has the manager under extreme pressure, a team that is in bad form, bad atmosphere as well. It's only yesterday that we really get that atmosphere going again. Potter celebrating with the fans. You know, a little kid comes up to Enzo, gets his shirt. Fans before the game, flares, smoke grenades. Stadium was rocking, Champions League fever. But we have to now return to normality. I said it on my watch along. That was like being bailed out. That was like having a few days out of prison. You know, that Champions League game, those Champions League games, and the next two will be just like that. It's like coming out of prison as a Chelsea fan. You know, you're on bail. You've got the tag. The police are still watching you, as we are as fans. We're still watching. You know, not all our problems have just gone away. We've qualified for the quarterfinal. That should really be an expectation. But we've been so down in the dumps that this is almost like a godsend. But make no mistake, we're not out of prison yet. We've still got that tag on. But it's up to the players to do good behavior. It's up to the manager to do good behavior, to do your chores, to wash your dishes, to eat your food, and then go to the gym even. You know, I saw some people getting bodied. I don't like that. But there was a lot more fight because Chilwell and them man there were fighting. I saw that. The whole game just felt more Chelsea, right? It did. But we're not out of the woods yet. Premier League back to prison. Prison Premier League is this weekend. And as it says in the quotes, this has bought time for the manager. This has bought time for the process, right? But you have to win. You have to keep winning. Leicester, Everton, these need to be wins. You need to keep this going now. Build some momentum, build some form. We've had more than enough time to, you know, have our L's, pick up our draws and our lack of W's. Now it's time to go on some sort of run. And that's absolutely crucial with the big away games coming up. So it's up to the team to get that done. But for me, when you look at that team and you look at that attack as well, as we progress, Felix and Kai Havertz clearly have chemistry building. Sterling, as we saw in the last game, clearly has maybe some chemistry with Felix. There was a lot of balls that was played in behind by Felix in that game to Kai and to Sterling, slightly offside of one of them. Obviously, Kai hit the side net with the other. Keep those three together now. I know people are calling for Mudryk. He'll get his time in the sun. I know people will be calling for Madueke. He will get his time in the sun. These are long-term assets. These are long-term signings. They're young players. Let them come off the bench. Or if they're not even needed off the bench because we're winning a game and Potter is shitting himself, that's no problem. We must win the matches. There's nothing better right now for this squad to keep any sort of chemistry and harmony. And of course, a lot of them back the manager, Kai Havertz, has come out with quotes. There's nothing better for this team right now than winning. If Potter feels like he needs to shut up shop after 1-2-0, let him do it. Let him shut up shop. Let him bring on Gallagher to run round and press and chaos and carnage and tackles and anger. And bro, let him go extinguish the fire. Let him go and do it. It's not pretty on the eye. I'm blind. I should know. It's not pretty on the eye. We would much rather maybe pass it around, keep possession for the last 10 minutes. But if he can't trust the team to do that, if he can't trust the team to go more attacking and kick on with another goal, because I was screaming at times against Dortmund where we could have got the third. We could have easily won this tie by even more goals, to be honest, over the two legs. We should have scored in the first leg. There was many opportunities to make that final pass, get that third goal. But if he himself has seen the team for the first 75 minutes, back and forth with Dortmund, of course, they had their spells, and they've seen the team miss chances, and he's seen the team isn't clinical, and he wants to shut up shop like Jose Mourinho for the last 15, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, then, to be honest, if that's what you feel like you have to do, get it done, because you have to win games. You have to win matches. So if you feel like you have to absolutely plug the midfield with 6 and do a Diego Simeone, then do you know what? Go for it. Absolutely go for it. Because what I've seen in these last couple of games is a we must mentality. This back three change has come by force. It's come by pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, but it's come by pressure. It's come by, if you don't win these two games, you probably will be sacked. If you lose these two games against Leeds or Dortmund, you will be sacked. Before, it was calm. Now there's chaos. Now people have to win games. Now there's responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your actions. And it's fantastic because what is it? Look what's transpired. Look what's transpired. There's no coincidence for me that this team, as soon as it comes down to the bottom barrel of this current process that we're on, I keep putting asterisks on it, right? Because I hate that word. But, you know, it's so Such a coincidence that as soon as it comes down to the nail-biting last 2 games, that's when everybody rises. And everybody now we go back to the back 3. Now we start to play to our strengths. Now we don't actually, are addicted to dominating possession. We actually just go a little bit more pragmatic. And now the fight comes. And now the argy-bargy comes from Chilwell and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and everybody's going crazy. And now we're seeing incredible defensive displays, and people are putting their bodies on the line. You must. We should have had that. We should have had that you must mentality from the beginning. I apologize to Toby. You sparked change for us, my brother. We should have had this you must mentality from the get-go, because look what it's transpired. Look what it's caused. Keep this you must mentality. You must against Leicester. You must against Everton. You must. Because we are in the quarterfinal. We are in the last 8, but that should be the expectation. That should be what we do. This is Chelsea. So let's keep that going, man. Kai Havertz, obviously, I said it in my review, incredible performance. You just wish for the consistency from this guy. His last couple of games, to be fair to him, there has been gradual improvement. His link-up play last night was incredible. Incredible. And it's funny because a player like him, who maybe is not the most clinical in front of goal, if you was to put him in that maybe Firmino role, if you were to say to him, right, your job is actually to link up, your job is to knit the attack, your job is to help create chances, when he had that lovely lofted ball against Leeds, when he created multiple chances in this game as well. If we had those potent, clinical wide players, your Mane and your Salah, if we had that, then he would be okay to not be banging in the goals, but we don't have that. So obviously his goal contributions have to go up in terms of his finishing. But yesterday, to be fair to him, he nearly had a hat-trick. He hit the bar and went in with that wonderful shot that was offside. He had his penalty, and of course he had that moment where he hit the post and he was so close. There was a wonderful technique on the shot. But we need consistency from Kai Havertz. You can't be a half the season player in the first half of the season, then you turn up in the second. We haven't even really, and when I say turn up, the levels here are astronomically, they need to be astronomically higher. If we're talking about half a season, you've got to step up Harry Kane levels in the second, and I'm not talking about big game player Harry Kane, because that doesn't exist. I'm talking about just over the course of the Premier League in the smaller games, grab those goals, be clinical, be putting in those man-of-the-match performances. If you're going to take half the season to get going, then that second half of the season needs to be incredible. It needs to be unstoppable. You need to ignite. Like fire. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, lots more consistency needed from him. Do you know what I mean? Especially for it. I say this as someone that really desperately invested a lot of stocks in this guy. I didn't invest them heavily in Ziyech and Werner. I invested everything I had in this Kai Havertz guy from Bundesliga. I say it for your own good. You need to be consistently performing how you performed against Dortmund for the rest of the season in Premier League, when it gets more physical, when it's not Champions League, when it's not Europe, when there isn't more space in behind. Because if you don't, and when Nkunku comes in and we're being linked with all these strikers, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. But you can see what he has when he really shows up. Everything was coming off for him last night. It's probably one of his best performances in a Chelsea shirt. Everything was coming off. All the flicks, all the link up, all the shots were slapping. Everything was wonderful. But it has to keep going that way. And we have to have consistency, because if we don't call for consistency, we will never be back where we should be. You can't be inconsistent or have a load of inconsistent players and an inconsistent team and expect consistency. And now it's time for a consistent lineup. We've built the foundation of what we want now in terms of that formation. Stick with it, right? There are some issues with the wing backs going forward, but we're going to have to hold that. And then, of course, you've got now your consistent front three. Go with it. Let them establish chemistry. You can have your young players coming off the bench and giving the cameo minutes. We've got the back line. Silva's out now until April. You've got Koulibaly in the middle, Badiashile and Cucurella on the right, on the left competing. And you've obviously got Fofana, who stepped up really well. We've got the wing backs. Those guys will probably have to be managed. We've got the basis now of a team that should develop understanding, develop chemistry, continue to keep playing better football, and actually now win games. So hopefully now consistency in that lineup. And if it does have a bad game from someone, we go again. But hopefully it doesn't spread to the whole team, because we need to be winning games, guys. So there's a lot to take from that game. The build-up play was strong. There was a couple moments of mistakes, but there was a press there that we had to deal with. Obviously, Bellingham was destroyed in this match. It's wonderful to see. And I can already smell the Bellingham rivalry coming, because he's been one of those players that have been out of focus, out of focus. If I go to Specsavers and I take a look and they ask me to do the test, I couldn't see. I couldn't see Bellingham. Do you know what I'm saying? He was far, far away in Germany. I can't read that low on the prompter. But now, this Champions League game, now we see you. And we see you for what you could be. He's 19. I'm only playing. But when you join Liverpool or Man City, now the rivalry begins. Now the clash begins. Enzo Fernandez versus Bellingham. Whoever else in your squads, do you know what I'm saying? In the rivals, you know, your parties and your Odegaards or whoever versus Bellingham, etc. This guy's been the golden boy, the golden kid for England. No criticism, no eyes analyzing. Now we see you, brother. It's going to be a fun battle. You ain't coming here. I know that for a fact. So it's going to be a fun battle for the next 10 years when you come to the Premier League. But yeah, I think for us, our build-up play, the three at the back, it's just easier for us right now. We don't have that DM. So it's better to have that double in midfield, share the responsibility, share the workload. We don't have that Casemiro. We don't have that Rodri. But we have now, we don't even have Jorginho, funnily enough, to someone to tuck in to the defense and really come in. Obviously, Enzo could do it, but we know Enzo is not a DM. So it doesn't work off the ball as it could on. And we don't want him that deep anyway because his passing is important for us in the final third. We got that back three. They can play their passes out. We've got that base to work from. And then, of course, now we've got people closer together in the attack. You know, Felix has got Sterling. They're tucked in. They're closer. Much better for link up. Now they're not out wide on opposite flanks, having to wait for a fullback to come forward like a Mudryk to get support from a Cucurella, where's potentially not his strength to do that. You know, when we don't have Reece and he's out, you know, an Aspilicueta or a Trevor to go and overlap on a Sterling or a Ziyech, we don't have to rely upon that. We have the attackers closer together now with the Felixes and the Sterlings combining, and we've got the forward in Kai that's going to go and press. And to be honest, I can understand why he's so insistent on playing Kai now, because let's be honest, as much as Aubameyang is a better finisher, and I want him on the bench to come on and give us an option if we are 0-0, Kai's all-round package is helping us create more chances. Kai's all-round package from pressing to link up, you know, he's just superior to Aubameyang in these facets of the game. So as long as we can create enough chances to get over the line and get the goals, we know we're not clinical, then it will be okay. If we don't create enough chances and our XG is low and we're playing like crap and we need someone to dig us out with a one-touch finish, bang, nobody's business, that's where Aubameyang is coming into the fold. But if we're going to actually play well and actually dominate, then you know, he'll be able to hopefully get us over the line more often than not. So yeah, that 4-2-3-1 now, it seems like it's been ditched, guys, to round up. You know, I could understand the idea. They want to get everybody on the pitch at once, but at the end of the day, our wing backs once again are the key. They're the key ingredient to any sort of cooking, any sort of success, any sort of wonderful meal. The last couple of years has come from these wing backs. In terms of defensive solidarity, that back three has already been tried and tested and showed what it can do. And that midfield balance, it basically needs it all. It needs it all. So it all makes sense, unfortunately, whether you like it or not. Let me know what you think in the comments down below in terms of the Dortmund debacle. What are the positives that you're taking from this formation and this new must-win mentality? And what are the concerns that you have going forward about why this formation may not be, or this system may not be completely, I mean, what's the word? Untouchable. That's the word. And let me know whatever, you know, things that you want to talk about that you feel like. Obviously, Madueke and Mudryk, you know, they're not inside forwards. Are their minutes going to diminish like we've already spoken about? Can we make those little tweaks where they can hang on the touchline and the wing backs can invert? We've done it before. Let me know in the comments down below. Big up your damn selves, and I'll see you for the next one. In a bit, people. Peace. Perfect.